Doesn't that look fantastic? It's been a while since I've been in Donegal town, probably I'd say probably near on 5 years.
Welcome to Éire Adventure Travel. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for joining me on this video. I'm going to be going through some essential travel tips for you that may help you when planning your next trip to Ireland. Hopefully those that have been watching my videos have been enjoying the content, and I hope that through that those videos that you're planning a trip to this fantastic island of Ireland. I'm going to break it down for you into different sections, so I hope to try and give you as much information as possible. I hope you will like the video, and of course please consider subscribing to the channel, and I look forward to any comments that you may currently have. So here we go with our first one, and that is planning. Right, we're going to be taking a look at planning. I suppose like any country out there, you'd want to jot down exactly what you want to see. I suppose from that perspective, decide what experience you want out of your visit when you come to Ireland. Give yourself sufficient time as well, so you might decide on a 2-week trip, or you may even want a shorter trip. So it could be 3 or 4 days. So what I would strongly suggest you do is try and do as much research ahead of time to decide on what you'd like to get out of your trip. Because Ireland itself is fairly big. I know some people say it's a small country, but obviously you've got, for instance, you've got Dublin, and those that want to experience Dublin will stay there for a few days, and that would be their experience of Ireland is in Dublin. However, for those that know of the other attractions around Ireland, you might want to go to the Wild Atlantic Way, for instance. You might want to go to the Cliffs of Moher. You might want to go to the Giant's Causeway. So I suppose try and plan your trip around the places that you want to visit. And then from that, you can decide how much time you want to give yourself. The next important thing to note is Irish weather. Now the weather is pretty inconsistent, so I suppose depending on what day you've had, I've had days when, for instance, it's been perfectly blue skies, a little bit on the chilly side, and then within the next couple of hours, the clouds have come in and it starts to rain. So make sure that you have organised yourself to plan for weather changes, because it's going to be vital, especially in the summer months. It can be cold here, so I suppose it's a matter of just packing the appropriate clothing for Ireland. Right, when we look at currency, currently the Republic of Ireland is in the Eurozone and uses the euro. Northern Ireland is a separate territory, and it forms part of the United Kingdom. There they use the Great British Pound, so just take note of that for currency purposes. Please take note when visiting Ireland, you have Northern Ireland, which forms part of the United Kingdom, so which requires a separate visa because you're effectively crossing a border. So please take note of that. You may need a visa from the country that you're coming from. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you've crossed into Northern Ireland and you haven't got a visa. So just double check the visa requirements for going into Northern Ireland. And the reason why I say that is there are attractions in Northern Ireland that I'd strongly suggest you consider taking a look at. You've got Giant's Causeway, and of course you've got the Titanic Museum in Belfast, just to name 2. I'm not saying those are the only 2 main attractions, but those are the highlights for me in Northern Ireland. Right, international airports when it comes to the Republic of Ireland. We obviously have Dublin International Airport, and then there's also Cork has Shannon Airport, and then there's also Knock Airport in the west of Ireland. So you've got 3 airports that you can possibly consider flying into. So I suppose it depends on what kind of trip you're planning. If you just want to go to Dublin to see, for instance, the Jameson Distillery or the Guinness Storehouse, and you start spending a few days there, then obviously you'll be flying into Dublin. However, if you want to see Cork and you want to see some of the Wild Atlantic Way locations, you might want to consider flying into Shannon Airport. And then if needs be, you've also got Knock Airport. So for those that are possibly considering doing the Wild Atlantic Way a bit further up, or wanting to see Sligo and Donegal in those locations. So just check and see which flight would match your itinerary properly. I wouldn't say flight, but which airport would match your itinerary properly. So if you're more focused on going and do the Wild Atlantic Way, you might want to consider flying into Shannon or Knock Airport. If for those that are travelling abroad and are going to be doing a self-drive visit, obviously you have the main ferry terminals of Rosslare and Dublin, and of course you've also got Belfast. So you've got a good spread of locations where you can enter from. Obviously in relation to pricing, that'll be something you'll have to find out. There are various ferry companies that offer that, so please feel free to check those out. I'll put one in the description for you to make that a bit easy for those that are considering a self-drive into Ireland. Well, for those looking at car rental, currently obviously with Ireland, the Republic of Ireland being part of the Eurozone, there are numerous car rental companies at the airports, so it shouldn't really be an issue to hire a car for the duration of your trip. So be sure to check those out. I've used Europcar numerous times, very efficient, just to name one. There are other ones, Hertz, Mavis and so on, so be sure to check that out and see which ones give you the best rates. Well, for those looking at renting a motorcycle, Celtic Rider, I'll put their details in the description for you, currently rent out motorcycles. Obviously there's requirements, terms, conditions, obviously you're welcome to check them out. I know I've seen numerous bikes on the road with the Celtic Riders, so there's obviously a good community of people that use them for their motorcycle travel requirements. What's also nice about them, they also you're able to rent rider gear as well. So if you're looking for helmets, jackets, trousers, boots, you name it, they offer that, which is great. So, and what's also quite nice is they do a number of tours as well that you can do. So for those looking to do kind of a self tour, you can obviously do that, or they have tours as well that you can take. So be sure to check them out. That is Celtic Rider, and I'll put their details in the description. For those that are considering using a tour company, there are various day trips that you can do. So if you're planning a trip into Dublin and you want to spend a few days there, you could take one of the local tour buses. Paddy Wagon is one. Again, I'll put their details in the description. They offer day tours pretty much leaving Dublin. They'll take you to pretty much the majority of these places that I'm planning to visit. So even if you want to go to the Ring of Kerry, for instance, you can take the Paddy Wagon there. Galway is another one, Cliffs of Moher. They even go to Giant's Causeway, Belfast. They'll take you to the main attractions. Obviously, the full details of where they go is available on their website. So if you're planning that sort of thing and you want to go to Dublin and spend a few days there, you can take those kind of day trips out so you can, see a bit more of Ireland as opposed to just Dublin. So consider that. That is Paddy Wagon, and I'll put their details in the description for you. The next one we're going to move on to is accommodation. Now, this is quite broad because you've got hotels, hostels, B&Bs. There are relative accommodation available in Ireland. I'd say probably the areas where you'd be limited for accommodation is when you go further west, kind of northwest, probably Donegal, because that's the area that I'm currently working on at the moment, and you'll be limited with regards to the availability of accommodation. So if you're planning to travel that kind of route, I'd say try and pre-book as best as possible, as opposed to just turning up there and hoping for the best. But I use, as I said, I use bookings.com for the majority of mine. There are other accommodation apps that you can consider as well looking into, but that's the one I use for now. That brings the video to an end, so I hope the tips kind of gave you an idea if you're planning a trip to try to make the most of it. Ireland itself has many attractions to it. There's a lot of history in this country. There's plenty of tourist attractions. A lot of the counties have developed a lot of these kind of tourist sites. They've spent a lot of money bringing them up. So I'd highly recommend you make an effort to go and see a bit more of Ireland. Dublin's great. I've been there many times. Likewise, but there's more out there. You've got Wicklow Mountains, not that far. If you go a bit further afield, you can go south towards Waterford. You've got Wexford, beautiful area. Tipperary as well. You've got the Rock of Cashel down that side. Then you can go as far as Cork, and you've got Blarney Castle. Kinsale is a lovely place. Cove as well. And then you've got, if you're going as far as the Wild Atlantic Way and you want to do that whole route of 1,800 kilometers, You can really make your trips magical here in Ireland. They give you so many options, and as I said, the tour companies alone. So if you go into Dublin, you're spending a few days there, and you want to get out, you can go out and see some of these places, which I just think is fantastic. There's not many places that offer that sort of scale of day trips out. I say it's probably the majority of the day you'll probably get back and it's night in Dublin. But you know, keep your options open in regards to that. Galway, another lovely place. You've got Connemara. In regards to Mayo, County Mayo, your beautiful scenery out there, mountains, lakes, scenic views, bay views. You've got Sligo areas, Benbulben, Donegal. Just from my experience working my way through Donegal, my aim is to do the 37 Wild Atlantic waypoints. I'm currently at number 9, and all this is documented on my channel. So my next step is to go a bit further up and further west. So you've got Slieve League, some of the signature points on the Wild Atlantic Way. You've got Macross Head, you've got Mallinbeg. There's so many good places here in Ireland for you to take advantage of. So I hope you'll plan that for your next trip. But thanks very much for watching. Please consider liking the video. Please comment. I'd love to hear your comments, where you're coming from, what country you're coming from, what you plan to do here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. I've also got a website, www.airerider.com. On my website, you can see photos. You'll have a list of videos from my YouTube channel as well. And I've also got a map that's integrated there as well. So I've given you a brief description of the location, what to expect there, and you can access the photos. But thanks again, thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you all on the next video. Bye for now.